Gege, is this really what you're on this season? It is Thanksgiving, and all you did was take from me today. I just gotta know, who hurt you? Who hurt you, man? Cause the way you wrote this Shibuya incident, I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not finna lie to you, dog. It feels like the way Taylor Swift writes songs about all her exes. To write the Shibuya incident, someone had to have hurt you. First you pack up Gojo and send him to the Shadow Realm for most of the season, and I let that slide. But now I just start to become a Nanami fan this season, and you decide it's time to pack him up too? Listen, I'm not even really mad at the fact that Nanami got packed up. Yeah, it still kinda hurts, but it just hurts more because it's Mahito. If Jogo had been the one to do it, I don't think I would have really even cared. But it's just the fact that you let this scum, this pile of worthless souls be the one to do him in, that's unexcusable to me. Who's next? I mean, who's even really left after Nanami? At this point, Shibuya's starting to feel like the final arc, because I don't really know who's making it out of here at this point. We started off this episode, and I'm not gonna lie, Nanami was getting work, but he was putting in that work at the same time. Like, this montage of him on the beach was somehow one of the most angelic ways I've ever watched someone give hands, but also receive hands. Like, the way Mappa was jumping back and forth between the actual fight and the beach, I'm not gonna lie, it had me feeling some type of way. Like, this scene is probably one of the most beautiful scenes of the entire season. This whole sequence though, it felt very similar to when you see a side character get their sad backstory and then they die immediately afterwards. Like, I feel like we all knew after this sequence, something bad was pretty much guaranteed to happen to Nanami. I think we all thought Nanami was gonna go out fighting, and we all would have been okay with that, because honestly, after the way someone explained last week's ending to me, Nanami deserves his time to rest. I was told in the manga it's a lot clearer that Nanami had the choice to either continue on like he did in this episode fighting, or he could have went back to go get healed since he knew where the healers were at. But Nanami decided to continue fighting to make sure the other sorcerers were okay before he even took care of himself. Which I believe, because we see during his fight with all of Mahito's little goons that he was honestly more concerned about where Fushiguro was than he was with actually winning the fight. He's a better man than me though, because if that had been me and I had got burnt to a crisp by Jogo, I gotta look out for myself. I'm going to get healed. I could call me selfish, but hey, I'm not helping anybody in this state and condition Nanami's in. Nanami somehow managed to put in all that work and defeat all those humans just for him to get the reward of getting his back caressed by this scum of the earth, bottom of my shoe trash, Mahito. Let me actually talk about this man Mahito real quick, since I feel like I've never covered him in a video, and make sure we're all on the same page with where we stand on him. This man is single-handedly my most hated character, yet somehow probably favorite villain in Jujutsu Kaisen. I hate this man for what he did to my man Junpei in season 1. However you want to say bro's name, I'm never letting that slide, and I'm standing on business on that one. But Mahito's just so unbelievably good at making me hate him that I have to somehow respect it and like him. If you can write a villain so good to the point where I genuinely just do not like seeing this character on my screen, I have to respect it. That's some A1, D1 great writing. But you let me know a villain that you absolutely hate and why in the comment section down below. Mahito then kills my guy Nanami, and I drop to my knees the same way Nanami's body dropped to the floor in this scene. And whoever animated this and decided to leave Nanami's legs and just his hand and cleaver on the screen and let us see this, I'm gonna be honest, I could have lived without this. I could have forever gone without seeing this, and my life would be better, honestly. This just felt like the animators were pouring salt in the wound, just confirming that Nanami is not coming back from this. My favorite part of this entire scene though wasn't even really Nanami's death, it was what proceeded afterwards. Because when Yuji and Mahito finally interact and Yuji's yelling at Mahito, "What is this?" Mahito starts yelling back, "Why are you yelling?" Like he's not yelling back at Yuji. This could just be me, but something seeing Mahito yell when he just told him to stop yelling, the simple humor and things like that are why I kinda hate Mahito. But at the same time, I kinda like Mahito. And that brings us straight into the Itadori versus Mahito fight. I really enjoyed the way this fight started with Itadori blitzing at Mahito, slipping and stumbling over all the bloody corpses that Mahito had killed. It really just kind of signified clarified to me that Mahito is a psychopathic murderer and there's nothing to stop him. I do have to question though, Itadori, where was all this speed earlier? Because if you had ran this fast in the first place, maybe Nanami's body wouldn't be dead on the ground on a subway floor right now. Dying on the subway floor, that's a tragic way to have your body dispersed of. The start of this fight, Itadori is trying to understand why Mahito has killed so many people, and I just didn't understand this. I thought it was just quite clear that Mahito is pure evil, and Itadori has witnessed this pure evil literally firsthand, so why are you asking questions that you know the answers to? Mahito just enjoys watching and making other people suffer. It's that simple. The next scene is why, once again, I hate Mahito. He really just knows how to hit my nerves, because when he starts taunting Itadori, asking him and saying, oh, my bad, next time I'm on a crazy killing spree, I'll make sure I show I'm a little upset and I'll count how many people I actually murdered. Like, you didn't have to do all that. And then he proceeds to do the little hand puppet of Junpei and stab it. That's where I drew the line. That should have been all Itadori needed to see to really understand what goes on in Mahito's mind. And while their fight, I don't think it was nearly one of the best fights of the season, it still is probably one of my favorites just based off how unique this fight actually was. Like when Itadori and Mahito were boxing in that little small hallway Mahito was closing on, that was just different. I don't think I've really ever seen anything like that in an anime. Don't get me wrong, I'm all for big giant battles leveling entire city blocks. That's my thing, trust me, I'm a Dragon Ball fan, but this was just something fun and different. I especially enjoyed the way that they were portraying Mahito this entire episode, because the way he's always joking around and smiling, you sometimes can kind of forget how evil and maniacal this man actually can be. With this fight though, you could really tell that they tried hard to portray Mahito like he was like the main villain of a horror movie. Yet they still were able to encapsulate his fun personality throughout this fight. His cursed ability though, at this point, it's just broken, because off this episode, he pulled out way more moves than I think we ever thought Mahito was capable of or could even do. Mahito had hands for swords this episode. He turned his hand into a Mega Man blaster and was shooting bullets out of it. He even turned his lips into a sword and tried to stab Itadori in the elevator. I'm not gonna lie to you, if Itadori had died to that kiss knife, Mahito might have went down as one of the top 5 most disrespectful kills in all of anime. Lucky for Itadori though, he's a part of Weave Nation, so he gets to avoid and live off that list for another day. After everything Mahito showed us this episode, I have to be real for a second. I don't see how Itadori is winning this 1v1. Mahito's bag is way too deep for Itadori. But this is Itadori we're talking about at the same time, so I honestly wouldn't be surprised if next episode some other character pulls up and they end up jumping Mahito, just because 1, it's Itadori, he only wins jumpings. 2, it's Mahito, he just loves getting jumped. If anyone really needs a tag team partner here though, and they're gonna get some support next week, I'm gonna go on a whim and say it's gonna have to be Nobara. They even tried to hype her up and let her get a couple of quick hits in on Mahito, but I'm not falling for that trap card. I know she's not pulling out this victory royale. I can almost guarantee, I'd be willing to put money that next week we will see her face down in the dirt begging for someone to come save her. Hope you all had an amazing Thanksgiving though, because all I got from Gege was pain and suffering this Thanksgiving. R.I.P. Nanami, I know you're not coming back from this one, but you will be missed. And if you missed my last video of Mahoraga versus Sukuna, you can click right here to watch that, and I'll catch y'all in the next one.